Today in the crypto space, we see the market still taking a bit of a dip to the downside. Bitcoin holding steady, grinding slightly to the upside. However, the altcoins, guys, these altcoins are deep in the red. There are some really good retracements throughout the market. Look at Polkadot, Cardano, Chainlink, VeChain, many more. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project, one altcoin that is definitely looking good, potentially looking for that early bounce, and that project is called Joystream. So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome on the channel. We talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate that strategy, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. And better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, traded setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with the top 100 first. We'll then look at the Bitcoin chart to see if we can use Bitcoin as a potential leading indicator. And then, of course, today, the project of today is Joystream. Guys, Joystream has been looking pretty good. Price action wise, holding up pretty strong, while the rest of the altcoins are falling pretty hard. Joystream is holding fairly steady, which is a sign of strength, a sign of bullishness. So we're going to take a look at that chart very soon. So let's begin. Let's look at what's going on here. Bitcoin is still hesitating, still right around that $47,000 mark. Looking pretty good. It does look like a little bull flag. It could continue to the upside in the short term. Very possible. We're seeing a lot of talk about the ETF, and it could be around the corner where it does actually get launched. And that would obviously bring some volatility to the price. Personally speaking, I don't think that this is the greatest time to get into a fresh long or a fresh trade. I would be waiting for the volatility to surpass and then looking for a good strategic move to the upside or even to the downside. We'll talk about probability very soon when we look at the Bitcoin chart. Let's continue going down. We can see that Solana at the end of the day is going sideways, and a lot of these altcoins are pretty much following each other, going sideways, grinding sideways. And guys, that's absolutely normal. You know, a lot of the altcoins did take an earlier dump earlier on this week. And of course, ultimately what we're expecting is a level of support. Did we hit that level of support? Are we going to come down and make another lower low? So this is so far so good. As long as we don't come down too much harder in the short term, it's not bad. I'm expecting the daily to get oversold though. You know, it could actually come down to make that lower low if we do expect that daily to get oversold. And if that happens, obviously, guys, we're going to be looking for DCA opportunities throughout the market. Now, if you look at some of the dips, right, there's a lot of double bottoms, a lot of slightly higher lows. You can see that OKB, Near Protocol, OP, higher lows on short time frames. Stacks still looking very strong, bouncing very hard off that Bitcoin narrative. However, in a bit of a retracement in the last little while, down approximately 6%. And then again, we have some lower lows. We have some projects that are showing slightly lower lows. We have Aptos. Kaspa's looking pretty good, still within range, not bad of a scenario there. And so is Celestia. Tia doing pretty good, making a double top, pretty much coming up to range highs, previous highs, up 10% for today, while the rest of the market is looking fairly weak, which is a sign of strength, of course, as well. Quant, you know, looking okay, maybe a head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders formation. It's got to stay above that $100 level. As of now, looking okay, but you can see the rest of the market in general is very similar. All of these charts are cookie cutter shapes. Look at this, exactly the same pretty much, and no real major confirmations yet that the bearishness is over in the short term. So ultimately what I'm going to be doing at this level is now getting a little bit offensive, especially if I see full resets of momentum, whether it be on the 4-hour, maybe even on the daily, because the daily is almost being oversold in a lot of these altcoins. So that's when I'm going to start to get a little bit of offensive, meaning start buying the dips, start accumulating again, because in the last little while we've been talking about defensive, right? It's trailing up the stop losses, taking a profit, increasing your stable coin allocation in preparation for scenarios like this where you see the altcoins or where you see the market coming down. Now I know Bitcoin showing strength, guys, and this is it. Bitcoin sucking the liquidity out of the altcoins, and you're seeing a lot of basically the capital flow into Bitcoin because people are expecting Bitcoin to do very well in the next little while, given that the ETF is around the corner. And if that's the case, Bitcoin will do well and altcoins will struggle, which you can see it's happening. But as soon as people start taking profits off of Bitcoin, it could be the beginning of a potential, again, money shift right when we see the capital flow right back into altcoins once again, and we'll get that relief for the alts. Helium doing pretty good, 16% bounce to the upside today. That's looking pretty good. I'm wondering what was the catalyst with regards to that move, but still looking really bullish. And if we keep on going down again, back into the same price action, down approximately 5 to 10%, maybe a little less, average about 5% throughout the market. Still within structure, still kind of going sideways. Nothing really too concerning just yet. Obviously, this dip was basically anticipated, market-wide anticipation. Bitcoin is next. I'm wondering how Bitcoin is going to be doing. Is Bitcoin actually going to start rolling over, or is Bitcoin going to, continue to the upside like the bulls think? And ultimately, the charts are a good way to begin our analysis. Let's do that, guys. Guys, I know you want to talk about charts, so let's begin by looking at Bitcoin. Obviously, this is the Joystream chart. We're going to take a look at Joystream in a second. You can see how bullish that looks, but Bitcoin at the end of the day is showing a bit of strength by breaking out, obviously making a higher high. That's super bullish, but the hesitation at this current moment is not looking the greatest, right? Are we in a stage of a potential hammer? If we close this daily candle at this state, it doesn't look the greatest. Are we in a good level to potentially expect a distribution? Guys, remember, Bitcoin is up 200% from its bottom. Do you expect bulls to go absolutely long at this current moment? I don't know. I'm very skeptical. Ultimately, I look for lows and sell the highs. This is definitely a high. Let's look at this in a little bit more detail. At the end of the day, we see that the golden pocket retracement level is right here, right? I'm not talking about long term. I'm talking about short term. There's a lot of people on socials right now talking very bullish, and I understand the bull runs around the corner. I'm on board. But ultimately, I don't think that the risk to reward ratio is in favor of getting into a bullish move with Bitcoin. And it's all about the data. It's all about the price. It's all about what it has been doing in the last little while. Momentum, there's bearish divergence. You cannot deny that, right? And of course, it's in overbought conditions. And yes, the argument could be by some bulls. Let's kind of zoom in here. And in fact, let's get into the weekly so we can consolidate some of this. Is that the RSI and many indicators, oscillators, momentum oscillators can stay overbought, in bullish conditions, which is very possible and very true. However, a bit of a rejection here, a bit of a dip in the short term is not bearish, and in fact is healthy, and in fact it happens all the time. So to anticipate a bearish divergence to actually get some follow through at this level, at horizontal resistance, at the golden pocket, is not a bad idea. Ultimately, it's not a bad thing to expect Bitcoin to come back down to about, let's say, even as high as touching this trend line and coming down to about maybe 35K. I think that a $33,000 Bitcoin is even still bullish and very likely to still happen right around here, even a little bit lower, maybe a liquidity grab to about 31.5 right around this level. And then you never know, the absolute bearish scenario right now for me in the near term is about 25K. And if it happens, guys, I'll be spamming those buy orders for sure. At previous lows, this is where the hunt of liquidity could be. And to assume that there is not going to be any manipulation in the market or any volatility, ETF or no ETF, is probably one of the most the things that you should avoid. Certainty. There's no certainties in this market. It's all probability, and the probability of a continuation to the upside at this current state for Bitcoin means that we're going to be going up to the right in the green forever, and that is very rare. Look at the previous, even in the previous bull run, we've had nice retracements along the way. Yes, this is a confirmed bull run. But look at all these impulsive moves to the upside, impulsive retracement, and I'm expecting a very similar thing. Remember, this is, this is not logarithmic. So you're going to see a bit of the price action squeeze together. And ultimately a bit of a back test, a bit of a confirmation low would be absolutely healthy here, and to see Bitcoin retrace a little bit. So although I am bullish long term for Bitcoin, I'm not willing to basically find out if we're going to get a short-term retracement. Even if it's a quick dip to a 0.38 Fibonacci, maybe down to about 30K, I'm not willing to take that chance. Why? Because it's risky. And ultimately, I'm looking for altcoin opportunities that are at the bottom of the range that have yet to run. Even today, we've seen some good runners that have bounced off of good support, and we've seen some altcoins take further dips, but we have to wait for the right moments, guys. So let's move on. Let's take a look at Joystream. Ultimately, I'm still in the altcoin mode. You guys know that I like my altcoins. At the end of the day, I hunt for liquidity, I hunt for volatility, I hunt for opportunity. And you can see that right now on the daily, because the week is not giving you much here on Joystream. It's showing a lot of strength. You can see that it's just consolidating. In fact, it's in a nice downward sloping channel consolidation that looks like a very healthy retracement, and in fact showing a bit of strength in the fact that it's not going lower this way. We see a lot of horizontal support right at this level. I would have appreciated more volume, to be honest. I would have loved to see the volume profile expand a little bit here, showing a bit of an indication that there's market participation at this level, and obviously a bit of confluence at the volume indication right here to see a bit more indications that the market participants are buying into this zone and accumulating into this zone. So there's not much happening there. There's just a little bit, there is, but I'm still hopeful that this is starting to become a nice bull flag for continuation up. Could the retracement be deeper? Now, we do have to be aware of the limitations with this bullish thesis. The bullish thesis limitation is that we left the bullish zone, which is the overbought condition, and we've retraced, and we're hanging out in the chop zone. Statistically speaking, in the past, when I've ever seen this type of scenario, especially in the chop zone, eventually we come down to oversold conditions. However, we've seen this scenario actually get invalidated very frequently lately, especially as the bullish conditions unfold. And we've seen a lot of support at the chop zone, a lot of support in the past here on the 50% mark, and getting that bounce, getting back up to previous levels, and perhaps even sustaining a bearish divergence. However, still making higher highs on the price action, getting that class A bearish divergence. Okay, so what I'm expecting here is not to trade the daily on Joystream. The daily is not really giving it to me, other than saying, you know what, we're holding support in the chop zone, which could hold the support, no doubt. But what I would rather do is get onto the 4 hour, right? The 4 hour is showing a bit of volatility as well, because we've been hanging around in this range for a good while in a descending type of channel. So what I'm trying to say is that you got to be a price action type of trader at this current moment. If you feel like this is a good zone to buy the dip, which you can see that we've been showing a bit of support around the zone, buying it and accumulating right now where we are is not a bad idea, given the fact that we are holding here for a good while, nice and stable with a lot of strength. And then the next level of support is all the way down here. So the question is, where are you going to put your stop loss? And this is a difficult thing, because even this range is pretty thick. If you look at it from the top of the range, more or less right here, to the bottom of the range, more or less right here, it's a 25% range. And if you dip down, you're about halfway right now as we speak. So you're dipping down approximately 10%. And if we dip down even further to the next area of potential support, it's a significant dip. You're talking about potentially 50% of your position, being in the red. So that is unfortunate. That's not really what you want to do here as a trader. However, building a position doesn't mean that you have to get it all in all at once. I would, in this level, I would consider buying a small bag and DCing at lower levels, and buying the dip heavier, a lot heavier here. Another strategy that you can employ is putting a stop loss under here, because it does look like a bull flag, a nice impulsive move after a back test of and getting support off of previous resistance, and then getting a nice bound, a nice spring to the upside without getting any major confirmations just yet of a lower high, a change of character. So this is basically in the speculation that we are going to make another high, because there's no change of character at the current moment whatsoever. And that's the basics behind trading price action, is waiting for a change of character. And ultimately right now we could definitely be looking forward to a nice breakout, a nice opportunity to see this thing basically break structure and make another higher high, and potentially get to this level right here. This zone right here is probably a nice extension level that I've marked out earlier on, swing high to swing low. And it is the 1.27. We have the 1.618 a little higher up. Obviously, the double top, the previous high, is an area of potential resistance, especially if we start seeing indications of bearish divergence, what we already kind of identified. You can see the price actions moving up while the momentum is coming down. So the only way to really invalidate this bearish divergence is to really make a nice impulsive move to the upside, to the point that the momentum, in fact, makes a higher high. It goes higher than this previous high, and that would invalidate the bearish divergence. And the MACD right now here on the daily is looking pretty good. We got an EMA cross almost at the same level as we have done in the past, which means that maybe we're due for another impulsive move that takes the momentum or the trend right back up into the bullish control zone and right back to this level again, which would be absolutely healthy for the price. We would see the price do very well. And as the price action is coming down, the MACD is actually moving up, and we're seeing a bit of divergence in the trend strength, right? So look at that, while you see that the price is actually at this level. Starting from here, you can see it's coming down, and all of a sudden we could be creating a nice rounded bottom pivot point where we attempt a shot at the previous high. And again, the divergence on the MACD is looking pretty good. You can see that right here. Let me try to get that into the frame. And you can see the MACD is actually probably more bullish than the RSI right now, because you can see that all of this right now is pushing to the upside. In fact, we're getting an EMA cross. It's a little bit of a jitter, but still a nice spike, and we break structure here, making higher highs on this diagonal, which will be take a bit of work. But ultimately breaking the previous high, guys, it looks like we can get into extension levels and potentially hit the 6.9 cent zone. That's what I'm looking for Joystream. And then from the bearish case scenario, of course, you know, if you buy a little bit here and get some skin in the game, but then ultimately if the daily gets oversold and gets to oversold conditions below the 30% mark on the RSI, it's likely to start hitting some bearish levels, which is at about 2.8 cents. Right at this level is where I would be mostly concerned with if we came down here. And then obviously other ones, and we would have to wait. As soon as we start making lower lows on this RSI and we break through this consolidation on momentum, as soon as we break through and we are on our way down, expect it to get oversold, expect it to keep on coming down. And then what we should be hunting for is bullish divergence right here in the bottom of the range. Okay, and that will give us an indication as to where we should be buying the dip for the next few buy orders. And then we'll look for the horizontal support at that level. Okay, so we'll try to find some confluence at that level, because ultimately I would be buying the dip if it came down to this zone, only if it got oversold and only if we got signs of bullish divergence. But at the current moment, it's starting to look strong. Ultimately, this thing's not falling too hard while the market is falling significantly. If you do the math, really, it's been in a downward sloping consolidation much longer than the dip that we've been having in the last little while, and ultimately it's been holding up pretty good. So it's a sign of strength. As we're seeing the market fall, this thing's pretty much going sideways. So ultimately it is a sign of divergence. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a huge favor and slap the like button. I'm going to be live tonight at 7:30 Eastern talking about crypto news and price action. If you have any projects you want me to cover, that is a great time and place to join live and make those requests, and I'll put them in top priority. Guys, feel free to check out that Discord. The Discord is a great community, lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.